Today I'm going to talk a little bit about my newest epic fantasy series, The Colossi, and mainly the first book, The Wall, which comes out May 15th this year, 2026. I'm Jonas Rhynedahll. If you don't know the name, don't panic. Out of 7 billion people, about 6,999,900,000 and change, give or take, don't know me from a hole in the ground. I'm an indie ebook author. I started publishing in 2010, which is practically the Stone Age in indie publishing terms. It was great then for new authors, not so much nowadays. Anyway, my latest epic fantasy series is The Colossi, a name that I didn't decide on until halfway through the second book. The first book, The Wall, comes out in May, like I said. The second book, The Factory, publishes in June, and the final book, The Tower, will come out in August unless I have a massive coronary between now and then. Before I explain how I started writing The Wall, I need to explain my writing process a little bit. In general, I can write a story like it's a job. Start with an opening scene, throw words at the page, plodding along, rewriting, rethinking, going through 8 drafts, and get from A to B, the end. Sometimes, though, the best times, I wake up in the morning with a scene in my head that's just burning to get out. A scene so vivid that I have to get to the keyboard before my brain explodes. The words pour out one after another, so fast that 60 words a minute can't keep up. The next scene, the next dialogue, the next action, all tumbling one after another so fast that I start to lose bits and pieces of the threads and details get lost, but I keep going. When I'm having these inspired moments, I can spit out 20 or 30,000 words in a few hours and plan almost the entire plot of a novel. That's how I wrote Potatoes Come Forth, which was my best-selling novel of all time, according to the reviews, and arguably my best novel ever. I wrote Potatoes Come Forth, complete, proofread by me, edited by me, converted into an EPUB by me, well, basically everything by me, in 1 month. I made more money on PCF than any other book that I've put out. For consumer fantasy fiction, it's provably good. So I know that method, my method, works. And that's how The Wall was born. Last year, in 2025, I woke up, spent a day and a half at my keyboard, laid down 25,000 words, and then, because of, life, I put it aside and left it. In the fall of 2025, I happened to be sorting folders on my desktop, and there it was. So I opened it up and said, that's fine. I'll just work on this a little bit until I, get tired of it. Only I didn't get tired of it. I worked daily on it through the end of the year thinking, oh yeah, I'll just finish this as a standalone. Fire it off and forget about it. Get it out of my system and stick with my regular housekeeping chores, tend to the animals, and my normal daily routine. So it went well. Too well. I looked up in the first part of 2026 and realized that I was at 100,000 words into an 80,000 word standalone epic fantasy novel that was supposed to be a one-off. Fire and forget. Move on to more important things like shoveling out the goat shed. So I said, let's just stretch it into 2 books. I'll just add a few little bitty chapters to the front to fill in stuff that I glossed over or left out. Add a few characters that are more than just scenery. Smack a few more characters with the famous romance stick. And like that. Easy peasy. But then, boom, I'm at 120,000 words with no end in sight and a whole bunch of the story left to tell. At that point, I just had to bite the bullet and make it a trilogy. But there's a problem with that. The Colossi is one continuous narrative in 3 volumes, not 3 entirely separate books. The story of Volume 2 picks up right from the end of Volume 1, and the same for Volume 3. To be fair to readers, I knew I couldn't put the other ones out in 6 months or a year. I had to put them all out close together. And so I had to do something, well, actually a lot of things all wrapped together, that I haven't done in the past. A staggered release with pre-orders. So that's what the Colossi will be. And I guess none of y'all watching this video know what the story is about, so I better get into that. Here's some spoilers. And I do mean spoilers because there ain't none of this in the books. If you don't want to be spoiled, turn this off now and delete the link. I mean it. Last chance. All right? If you're still here, it's too late. The main character's named Wrath. His formal name is unpronounceable on purpose. He's a young man living in a colossal, yeah, that's where the series title came from, building made by a vanished star-spanning civilization. Nothing new there. When they all died out, as usual, or elevated to a higher plane or ascended to a higher form of life or whatever, some chucklehead forgot to turn off the autonomous robotic planet that built their colonizing/terraforming starships. So this planet kept churning out sets of massive buildings, a 500-kilometer long rectangular residence and library, a tremendous brick-shaped building that does manufacturing and production, and a giant command building shaped like an obelisk. These interlinked and dependent buildings continued to be launched out into the universe to hunt down suitable planets and terraform as necessary for colonists who would follow later. Well, the bots weren't smart enough to realize that no colonists would ever rise because all of them were dead and gone 1,000 years ago. One trio, I like to think of them as the Three Stooges, landed on the world that Ras people named Refuge. When Ras ancestors escaped their own universe and the self-inflicted magical cataclysm that destroyed their world, they arrived on Refuge. Those people were rather literal with names, and naturally moved right in. The wall in the factory, of course, did not object. Ras people had survived on their first world by magic. Magic that allowed them to grow crops, to raise houses, to build roads, to make war, to heal the sick, to do just about anything. But the wall in the factory now took care of their needs. It educated them, it kept them in comfort and affluence, and it protected them from want and hardship. The wall was designed to coddle and shelter colonists from overly civilized worlds. Colonists who weren't interested in and had no experience in the work and life of a pioneer. All this meant that Ras people didn't need their magic anymore, because the magic of Ras people is what they call a genetic survival mechanism. The talents of the custodian nation and the gifts of the monitor nation are inherited through their blood. Their magics, their individual spells, only express when environmental stress, personal danger, puts their survival in jeopardy. Fall off a building? Well, then you need magic to fly. And this is the first scene I saw in my head, and this is how the wall begins. The day that Ras' curse began, he fell off the wall. He was absolutely convinced that if he had not taken a monitor dart to the knee just 2 days before, he could have easily made the leap. You can pre-order the wall in the factory now. The wall comes out May 15th, 2026, and the factory on June 19th, 2026. The tower will be available for pre-order in July and comes out August 13th. You can visit my website at Rhynedahll.com. Follow me on X, please, and here on YouTube, pretty please. And if you look hard enough, you can find me just about anywhere else. If you have questions, ask. I'll answer anything but out-and-out spoilers. And I didn't say I would tell the truth.